The final Civil War trailer has landed, and it's a doozy. There's a lot of Easter eggs and references jam-packed into it, so much so that I've upped the standard 6 things missed to 10. I know, right? I can't believe it either. It's not just some arbitrary number. This definitely means something. So let's delve a little deeper into this, bearing in mind potential spoilers, but also bear in mind this is all speculation and such. Though this movie isn't strictly a Civil War comic adaptation, there are elements that look to cross over into the live action version. I doubt we're going to get any Spider-Man unmasking this time around, but more on him in a bit. I've got some stuff to say, but what we do get is a prison facility. Now in the Civil War story arc, this prison extends into the negative zone, which is like a different dimension. Though they can't use that because Fox are busy ruining every element associated with the Fantastic Four. Here though, it's just a collection of cells, presumably for those not complying with the Superhero Registration Act. We also get some definitive numbers on some of the more high impact events from previous movies. 74 casualties from the Chitauri invasion, 23 from the collapse of S.H.I.E.L.D., and 177 from the Sokovia incident. The damage in total is in excess of $495 billion, if my math is correct. Which it almost certainly isn't. But is Sokovia really worth $474 billion? That place looked terrible before it was dropped out of the sky. Or exploded, or whatever happened in that movie, I don't know. You know what, I think there was a lot of locals claiming PlayStation 4s on insurance that, they never owned. We see Black Panther sans suit, which turns out is bulletproof, by the way. That makes sense considering it's made of the same material as Captain America's shield. He's seen here looking pretty distressed, potentially with the death of his father in an explosion, which I think he believes, along with most others, to have been caused by the Winter Soldier, which automatically has Black Panther siding with Tony Stark, at least initially. But speaking of, it looks to be the Winter Soldier in cryogenic freeze in the background here, like he is towards the beginning of the trailer, but he's standing right there. So who is this? Could be some kind of Winter Soldier imposter, or maybe even Daniel Bruhl's Baron Zemo, whom we haven't seen yet. Regardless, Hydra is behind all of this. Everything, including the explosion at the beginning. I say Hydra because Crossbones is in the film, a known Hydra affiliate, plus it looks like the facility where this takes place has a Hydra logo on the door. Also, this is in Russia. Russian flags on the soldiers' arms. Bloody Russians. Always up to something. I should have said always rushing around. I bloody ruined that. Few quick things here. We get a shot of what could potentially be Spider-Man's home. More on him in a bit. I'm getting there. Ant-Man, rumored also to turn into Giant Man, riding one of Hawkeye's arrows. Just like the comics, though dare I say, looking a little bit better. An energy blast, taking out War Machine's arc reactor, though it's cut to make it look like the Winter Soldier did this, and Scarlet Witch crippling vision. Now both of their abilities stem from the Mind Gem, so it makes sense that she'd be able to do this. Her powers are apparently going to be fleshed out more than they were in Age of Ultron, but also grounded in reality. We also get a very familiar line out of Captain America.
I could do this all day.
Something he hasn't said since the 40s.
I could do this all day.
Which is a nice nod to that scene that, if you remember, ends with Bucky giving a guy a kick in the ass. The ultimate indignity. But Spider-Man, he made the cut. They didn't Luke Skywalker him. Which makes sense, because they'd want the general public to know that Spider-Man is in this film. That's another element that will get people along. Now, there's a lot going on in this new costume. It's said that he's actually getting 2. One designed by himself, and one Tony Stark. I'm presuming though that this is the Stark one, because there's a little bit of tech in it. Now it's reminiscent of a few designs. I see a bit of Alex Ross in there, but it's also very Steve Ditko, the first Spider-Man artist, with the wide logo on the back and when the eyes narrow. Very similar to what we see here in this classic Spider-Man pose. What the hell is going on here? But speaking of eyes, you can hear a mechanical whirl when they adjust. I'll try to crank it up a bit so you can hear it. Can you hear that? Is that clear? I don't know. These aren't magical shape-changing white eyes like we got in Deadpool. If you look closely, I believe they work a bit like a lens on a camera, which could be a nod to Peter Parker's love of photography, but you can see here in the high-res version that there's a few layers of black in there. It's also noticeable in this picture that it's not as rubbery as you'd initially think. It's more of a clothy material with black bands on both the biceps and wrists. Not only that, we get confirmation of mechanical web shooters with what looks like refills on his belt. Something we haven't seen before in the modern incarnations of live-action Spider-Man. That's right, I put Tobey Maguire's hair on Andrew Garfield's head. And it's kind of horrendous. What do you think of the new Civil War trailer though? And do you like this new look for Spider-Man? And if you are interested in Civil War, I've got a stack of related videos, including previous trailer breakdowns, weird and alternate casting choices for Spider-Man, Captain America and Iron Man, and a whole lot more. So, subscribe if you want. Also this Monday on my podcast, The Weekly Planet, linked below, we'll be breaking down this trailer in even more depth. So tune in. It's a guaranteed good time, which is by no means guaranteed. Also, just quickly, I'm looking for an editor to help me out, but I'll talk more about that on Sunday. Alright, that'll do it. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.